Am I the asshole for moving out cause my family keeps playing with my cane? So I 17F still live with my mom, my stepdad, and my two half-siblings 5M and 7F. My dad died when I was 5, driving me to the hospital. Mom didn't want to pay for an ambulance. He died in the crash and my leg and spine got busted up in a way that has left me needing a cane pretty much ever since. My step-dad's always been a little distant with me. He likes to make jokes about how I'm an early blooming black widow. I think he gets that from my mom, who blames me for my dad's death. I do too. It is my fault after all, so I don't push back on it. Anyway, the point is that with the current situation my parents are always looking for ways to get my half-siblings active and doing things without leaving the house, and have recently settled on scavenger hunts. I have no problem with this honestly. I wish they'd stop hiding stuff in my underwear drawer, but it's a 5Y0 and a 7Yo, so that's not the worst. My problem though is that they keep taking my cane when I'm not looking. I tend to get lost in my homework and my writing hobby and zone out, and having it be one of the items that my half-siblings have to find. When I complain to my stepdad, he's a sod, so is usually the one running these things. He scolds me for being selfish and points out that my swivel chair has wheels if I need the bathroom and that they always get it to me before I have to go downstairs for dinner. I tried my mom yesterday, and she said that I was being a brat and that if I wanted a father who cared about me I shouldn't have killed my dad. I got really upset at that point and called my grandparents, my mom's parents. Dads are dead too. They showed up at 10 p.m. yesterday, and Grandma screamed at them while Grandpa packed my stuff up and helped me out to their car. My mom's been blowing up my phone and email, calling me all sorts of names and accusing me of turning her family against her and trying to get her in legal trouble since minors can't move out. And I can't help but think that maybe she's right. So, am I the asshole? Edit. I would just like to say thank you to everyone who's taken the time to comment and try to reassure me that I'm not the asshole. I can't reply to all of you, I lack the energy and I have homework, but I'm reading them all and I really appreciate it. You've given me a lot to think about, and I do thank you. Edit 2. Wow. That's a lot of support, and a lot of messages. Too many for me to reply to. I'm sorry. Thank you all so much. I promise that I do care what all of you have to say, and I'm reading every chat, comment, and PM. I was so scared this wasn't going to go my way, so thank you, thank all of you. Oh honey, no. You didn't kill your dad. It isn't your fault. Accidents are accidents because they aren't your fault. Your mother is unbelievably awful for the way she has been treating you and allowing you to be treated. Please stay with your grandparents. And if you have access, maybe seek out a therapist to help you work through all this guilt you're holding onto. More than anything, I send you hugs. Oh, and not the asshole. In any way, shape or form. Do not go back to that abusive house. ETA, come on y'all, I'm sure there's people way more worthy of all your free awards, but thank you kindly. Not the asshole. Your mother is straight up abusive. Your father's death is not your fault and she is frankly completely awful for allowing and reinforcing those beliefs. Your stepdad is an asshole too for taking unnecessary aid from you. If he wore glasses I'm pretty sure he wouldn't find it funny if you kept hiding them. These people are toxic and cutting them out of your life may well be your best decision here. Not the asshole. First of all, your father's death was absolutely not your fault. Your mother has behaved absolutely abhorrently towards you, and it's downright horrific that anyone in your household thinks it's okay to take your cane and leave you without means to get around your home easily. Everyone in your household, except you, has behaved terribly. Good on you for getting out. Please also talk to your grandparents about getting you into therapy. You certainly have a lot of things to talk through and I think you would find it very helpful. Not the asshole. Your grandparents are your allies. If things go to child services, be sure to tell them what was happening. You're old enough that your wishes will be an important consideration. And to repeat, your dad's death is not your fault. I'm horrified that you might believe that. Not the asshole. You didn't cause your father's death or your own disabilities. Wow. Is this for real? This is literally the most toxic post I've ever read on here. It is 100% not in any way your fault that your dad died and you are deserving of love no matter what. They should not take your means of mobility away from you ever. You need to erect some serious boundaries between you and your immediate family. Stay with your grandparents and seek counseling ASAP. Not the asshole, no way, no how. Not the asshole. First of all, I'm very sorry for your loss and the situation with your stepfather and mom. You are not responsible for your father's death. You were 5 and needed to go to the hospital. Accidents happen, but you are in no way responsible. Your stepdad is being neglectful and abusive by not making sure you have your cane. Your mom has no right to say such awful things to you. Even if she is in pain about your dad dying. Your grandparents were right to come and collect you. Your mother's behavior is why your grandparents are upset. It has nothing to do with you. Whoa, sweetheart. You didn't kill your dad. You were 5 years old and needed to go to hospital. It wasn't your fault there was an accident. Your mom has been abusing you with this concept for so long, she's got you believing it, and I really hope you get some therapy ASAP to see how utterly wrong she is. I have a 5-year-old daughter. Nothing she could do would cause her to be in any way to blame for a tragedy like that. Even if she was throwing a tantrum at the moment of the car crash, it wouldn't be her fault. The adults involved are responsible for safety, not a 5-year-old child. Your stepdad needs to go to hell too. Stealing what you need to be able to walk, even temporarily, is massively abusive. Stay with your grandparents. Never go back. Not the asshole. First of all, you didn't kill your father. You aren't to blame for his death. I've never hoped more in the history of my online life that something was a fake post. But if you believe this even a tiny bit, I want you to know that it isn't true, and when you are ready, willing, please talk to someone about this. Second, it isn't okay for your mom or stepdad to have your siblings hide, play with your cane. Maybe on occasion with your permission if they want to see what it's like for you. But that's it. Use it and return it. Not use it for a game. Your mom is made because she finally got called on her behavior. This post broke even my cold black heart. Not the asshole at all. Also, let me repeat this, #your father's death was not your fault. Best wishes, and I hope the future brings you healing. Why are you making this about a stupid cane? Why aren't you leaving the house you're being accused of killing your dad in? Not the asshole. If this is real, then your family is nuts, blames you for death of dad, makes fun of your disability, steals, hides something you need for getting around. Get out and don't look back. Got to be fake, right? There can't be people this cruel. Info: how in the world was it 5-year-old you's fault that your father was in a car accident driving you to the hospital? And not the asshole. It's unacceptable to take from someone their means of moving. That's cruel and psychotic and absolutely abusive. Not the asshole. Let me say that again, you did not cause the death of your father. You did what many kids do, some make-believe game got out of hand and you got hurt. If anything, it's your mother's fault. She didn't want to call an ambulance for you. She's projecting her own guilt onto you. Your stepfather is an asshole for not stopping your half-siblings from tormenting you. Please ask your grandparents for help with getting therapy. At 17 you have some agency about where you want to live, in a few months you'll be 18 and then your mother can pound sand. Not the asshole. Your mom and stepdad sound awful though. Move in with your grandparents if you can for the sake of your mental health. Not the asshole. Holy shitballs. I'm so glad your grandparents got you out. Flat out abusive, and honestly what your mother said, that's unforgivable. Just unforgivable. I'm so sorry this all happened to you, op. Stay with your grandparents and succeed in life, it's the best revenge. It is my fault after all, so I don't push back on it. No, it's not. Your mom knows it's her fault for not wanting to pay for an ambulance. She should be sorry for your injuries also. Luckily her parents realize the truth. She should have been in therapy to deal with the guilt, instead she blames the blameless. There is a reason doing it yourself is a stupid idea. The danger to yourself and others is too much. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. I hope your grandparents help you to get some counseling. To be blamed for something at the age of 5 is reprehensible. This was not your fault. You did not kill anyone. Block them on your phone, social media, and out of your life. It's inexcusable. Again, you are not at fault. FAAAAAKEOMG. Why do any of you humor this bullshit? If this is real, not the asshole, and you are not to blame for your father's death. Move in with your grandparents and stay the hall away from your mother and stepfather. Not the asshole. Honey, I can't even begin to explain to you all the ways in which what happened to your father is not your fault. You were a child, and it was a terrible accident. I'm so sorry for your loss, and even more sorry that your mother decided to use her pain as a weapon for over a decade. That is completely abusive and totally unacceptable. Please look into therapy for yourself, because you deserve to heal and move past this and live your best life. I deeply and sincerely hope that your grandparents are able to provide a more stable and nurturing environment for you, because you deserve it. Not the asshole. And look, you didn't cause your dad's death. I'm sorry that your mom and stepdad treated you like this and that they blame you. Though it is normal for people to feel blame for their loved one's death, therapy helps, and I do suggest trying that if you can. Not the asshole. Your parents are abusive, and judging by your replies you have also been coerced into believing the accident was your fault, when it most certainly was not. Your parents are straight up abusive. Purely vile. Please, try and go to a therapist. Holy shit. Not the asshole. On a scale from a good person to Hitler, your mother is close to Hitler. How could you possibly be the asshole in all of this? You are the asshole, I guess, upside down face. Oh my goodness, not the asshole. Your cane is yours. It is not a prop. It is not a toy. It is not an object for a child to use in a game. Your stepdad is either blatantly obtuse about the impact of taking your cane away and teaching your siblings disrespect for boundaries, or he's grossly arrogant in assuming he knows better than you and your medical team for what should be used and how necessary it is. Either way, you communicating your dislike for it is incredibly reasonable, and him choosing to ignore that makes him an asshole. No offense, but fuck her mom and her opinions. Not the asshole, definitely not. Your family sounds horrible. You are not to blame for your father's death, and taking away your mobility is abuse, not a game. Stay with your grandparents. You are 17 and any court would take that into account when deciding your placement. The courts would not force you to move home. She is right though, you could file a complaint against her. Not the asshole. And not responsible for the crash that hurt you and took your dad. Your mom is a major, can't say don't want to be removed, for implying anything of the sort. Let your stepdad have the kids play hide and seek with his phone or car keys, see how he likes it. I am glad you have YPUR grandparents. Bruh, get the fuck out. Not the asshole. But your mom is the taw. Sorry honey, but for blaming you something like this for years and years, that's disgusting. Your mom thinks she only lost a husband, but you dear not only lost a father, you lost your ability to move around like any teenage. And the way I see it, you also lost a mother. Your mom just making an excuse, seems like she already replaced a husband and perfect kids. I know I'm being harsh, but that's what I see it. Moved out, stay with grandparents if you could. Work hard with your school and your hobbies. Who's know from early blooming black widow will become richest, successful early blooming black window. Not the asshole. First of all, your dad's death is not your fault. It is not your fault because he had to drive you to the hospital. If anyone is to blame, it is your mother for refusing to call an ambulance. Frankly, your mom is abusive towards you and guilty of medical neglect since she refused to get an ambulance for you when your dad felt you needed it. Your dad's death is her fault. She knows it but has decided to gaslight you. Not the asshole. First of all, it is not your fault that your father died. I can only imagine what guilt you must feel about surviving that accident, but you were 5 at the time and could not make decisions. It's probably worthwhile to seek therapy to deal with this trauma, and stop talking to anyone who tries to blame you for it. Second, your family has been abusing you for years. Taking away a mobility aid is absolutely abuse, as are all the comments about what happened to your father. You absolutely have the right to be at your grandparents' now, as your prior home is not safe for you in any way. I agree with other commenters that CPS needs to be involved. Even if there is not much they can do for you at this point, their other children are also in danger. Not the asshole, they're taking something you need to physically move around. I'm glad your grandparents helped you out and stood up for you. As for killing your dad, her fault for not getting an ambulance. That's the root cause of how your dad died. I'm sorry to hear this also. Is this even real and not made up? I am the father of 3 children. Saying that the wreck is your fault is utter and complete BS. Unless you grabbed the wheel and jerked, he was in control of it. If it's anybody's fault, it's your mom's. Most decent parents willingly accept that we may need to lay our lives down to save our children. It's a decision that was made when we decided to have children. Your mother was the a-hole when she made your dad drive you, while whatever was happening was obviously an emergency. He made the decision to listen to her and to operate a vehicle while scared and probably running on adrenaline. It is not your fault. Try to make peace with that and move on the best that you can. This is beyond Reddit's pay grade. I would highly suggest getting some serious help. Absolutely not the asshole. You definitely shouldn't blame yourself for your dad's death. It's a horrible thing to push to yourself and really shouldn't be held onto. My best advice would be to keep your cane touching you, or whatever you need to do to keep them from using it. Whether it works or not, it is an absolutely disgusting thing to do anyway, and if you can tell someone about it, I'd recommend it. It is no way your fault for your father's death. You said yourself, your mother didn't want to pay for an ambulance so you drove. Although she made that call, it's no way her fault either. There was an accident and it could have happened to anyone at any time under any circumstances. Luck was not on your side that day. I'm truly sorry for your loss. OMG, this is one of the most heartbreaking things I've ever read. Not the asshole. These people are abusive, and you deserve better. Do not go back to them. Ever. And if you can, get yourself some therapy because you have carried the guilt of your father's death too long. You are the asshole for making a dumbass post. No shit, you're not the asshole. This sub gets worse by the day. Anyone who believed this post, I have a bridge I'm selling. Not the asshole. Fellas, is it an asshole move to let your parents blame you for your actual parents' death along with taking a handicapped medical instrument from you and give to little children as if it was a toy? Not the asshole. So not the asshole. How can you blame yourself for something like that? You were just an innocent child then, and I suspect that your mother has been passing the buck of blame to you to feel better since that fateful day because she decided not to call for an ambulance. Your mother and stepdad are the Oz in this situation, and thank goodness your grandparents stood up for you and took you away from there. Frankly, I'd be yelling at them, too. I hope your grandparents give your mother and stepdad the talking of their lives, because they really needs a wake-up call and therapy as well. I hope your grandparents can help you find a good therapist. You can't continue blaming yourself for what happened. Not the asshole. Your father's death is absolutely not your fault. It's disgusting your mother has been blaming you and drilling it into your head that it was. By her logic, your mother would be to blame for refusing to call an ambulance or because you weren't under adult supervision at the age of 5. I sincerely hope you can continue to stay with your grandparents. Your home environment is toxic and unhealthy for you. Please stop blaming yourself for your dad's death. Maybe your grandparents could help get you into therapy. A 5-year-old hurting themselves is in no way to be blamed for a subsequent car accident. Not the asshole, but your mom and stepdad have really done a number on you. Stay with your grandparents and please get therapy. You need to cut these toxic people out of your life. Your mom is blaming you for your dad's death, because it's easier than facing the fact that her selfishness and lack of care is what made him have to drive you to the hospital in the first place. There's no shame in cutting out toxic people. Look at it this way, your grandparents wouldn't take your side against their own daughters if you were in the wrong. They are rightfully horrified about what's going on in that house. But please get therapy to deal with the years of abuse you've been dealing with. Not the asshole. WTF. Counseling for all, you, mom, stepdad. Stay with your grandparents until your mom and stepdad see the error of their ways. Good luck to you. My God, this post broke me. You are not and never were responsible for what happened to your father. You are being abused, severely. You are in a severely abusive household and you have been gaslit for your entire life to think this is normal. Please tell your grandparents every single thing your mother and stepfather have told you. This is not normal and I hope you get the support you deserve. Not the asshole. You should call CPS. You didn't kill your dad and your parents are emotionally and physically abusing you. They belong in jail, quite frankly.